Hello and welcome to 3ABN Today Live. This is our 2-hour sitting together. And allow me once again to thank you for sharing this part of your day with us. Now, I need to set some parameters here right off the bat, because usually we say, sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. Well, that is patently inappropriate for tonight's program. One, because we've got David Asscherick here. And whenever you have David Asscherick, any place, sit back and relax, kind of out the window. So we're going to say, seat backs up, tray tables up in the what is it, upright
Full
and
and
locked
upright,
position,
yeah.
and buckle your seat belts and hold on, because we're going to be moving fast. We've got a lot to talk about. And our subject matter for this night is creation. We've been talking about the attack of the devil in so many areas on the gospel of Christ. And one of the areas that we see him putting himself into, inserting himself into, is the idea of creation, the notion that we came from the hand of loving God. And so we want to, again, buttress that thought. We want to talk about that. We want to encourage you, those who may be under attack or who may be having questions that you cannot answer. Tonight we're going to try to answer that, give you some more ammunition, some more armor, as it were, maybe even turn you from a defensive person to an offensive person who can stand up for the cause of Christ. So that's what we're trying to do tonight. My guest, again, is David Asscherick. David, good to have you here.
Always good to be here, C.A.
When I think of David, I think of that text in the Bible that says, the Spirit bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but cannot tell where it's coming and going. So David, of course, is a favorite here at 3ABN. We've heard him preach, and when you see that blur running back and forth across the stage,
I was wondering,
that is David Asscherick.
I was wondering where you were going with that. Okay, so the wind blows where it wants, so you don't know where it's going.
You hear the sound. We know it's a sermon. We know it's Asscherick, but sometimes you can't see him because he's moving so fast. But he's going to slow down just enough tonight to give us the word. And he's brought a good doctor with him. We have our very own doctor in the house. This is Dr. Sean Pitman. Sean, good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
He's going to help us walk through this mine, as it were, this landmine of creationism. He brings the professional side of this. We're theologians, we're preachers. We can approach it from that side, but Sean can give us a whole other perspective, which we will take a look at tonight. And of course, in the second hour, we're going to take some questions from you. We've got a lot to cover, an awful lot to cover. We want to get through that material. And if in listening to that, you have questions, call them, write them, send them, and we'll try to answer them in the second half. So we've got a good night ahead of us. A lot to do. Going to talk about a number of things, but before we unpackage their stories, we're going to call Jennifer LaMountain to minister to us. A really nice person who we really love at 3ABN, a gifted singer, but who with her ability has a humility that makes her a real joy to be around. Jennifer LaMountain is going to be singing Chasing of the Wind, Why Do We Live? It's a medley, and you'll enjoy it.
Oh
Jennifer Lamountain, well done. We were just talking about her off camera a little bit. Such a Christian young lady, a mother now, and very, very happy, and does such a beautiful job. Gentlemen, we've got so much to talk about. I think I want to start with the good doctor because we sort of know you.
Sure. I'm a known quantity.
Sean, where are you from?
Originally from Alabama and Mississippi area. My parents still live in Alabama, the Montgomery area, and my dad's the trust services director there. But my wife and I now live in Northern California where I practice pathology.
Now, when you say pathology, a lot of people may not know what that entails. What does a pathologist do?
Oh, it's very wide-ranging, but mostly it's dealing with the study of disease. And a large part of my job, I basically tell surgeons what they took out.
Okay.
Yeah, put it back. No.
How long have you been in medicine?
I graduated in '97 from Loma Linda.
From Loma Linda.
And then I went to the Army for 4 years. I had a military medical scholarship. And that was a lot of fun. Then after that, I went to pathology residency. After that, I did kind of family practice, urgent care, ER type stuff with the Army. And then after that, I went back to Loma Linda for pathology.
Oh, I see. Married?
Yes, married after the Army.
And children?
I just had my first, Wesley.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's a beautiful little boy.
As a pathologist, good deal.
Yeah.
I know what this is.
The little boy got all of his good looks from Sean.
I see.
Yeah.
Because his wife still has hers.
I see.
I lost all mine.
Because you've obviously done extensive study in creation. Where did the marriage sort of come for you as a pathologist and this interest in creationism?
Well, I kind of started out very young. Even from early childhood, I started wondering about evolution and if evolution was true, what about Christianity? What about Seventh-day Adventism? And I asked a lot of questions, even as a child, that weren't satisfactorily answered for me. Even through medical school, I didn't really understand why evolution wasn't true. Where were the limits, if there were any? I mean, if you can have lots of different dogs, lots of different types of cats, and all these things, and they all change over time, and new breeds develop, and all these things. Where's the limitation? And I couldn't figure that out until after medical school, where I decided to devote enough time into it so I could figure out one way or the other.
You know, it's funny. Every time I hear someone speak on creation, new things pop up in my mind. This idea of where's the limitation? Can a dog mutate so much that it's no longer a dog? Or does it have to stay a dog? If we follow that evolutionary mindset. And of course, we're going to talk about that as we move into the program. But David, you have fairly recently relocated to California.
That's right.
Arise has moved.
That's correct.
Talk a little bit about what you're doing now.
Well, we're continuing to run the school there in California. Rise has been running now for 8 years. In fact, we're right in the middle of a course right now, 52 students. And we've just transitioned. You've been to Yosemite?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so we're just right outside of Yosemite. We live in heaven on earth. And no, it's absolutely beautiful. We're at the top of a mountain, and we love it there. We loved Michigan as well, but you know, when the Lord opens doors, you know about that.
You got to walk through.
You got to walk through.
Tell us, what does Arise do?
Arise is very simply a training school for primarily lay people, though we do get some clergy that come, some pastors and evangelists, but we basically teach people how to be effective communicators of the gospel, both in a public sense and also in a person-to-person sense. We just teach people how to introduce others to Jesus, to His Word, to His truth, and to His end-time message.
I see. A course of study at Arise is how long?
Well, we have lots of different courses, but the typical course, the longest course, the course we're sort of best known for is 4 months, always in the fall, but we also have 2-week courses, we have a 3-week course, we have many weekends and week-long courses that we do in churches, but the 4-month course that we do, what we call our flagship program, always in the fall, in California. It's been in Michigan, but now in California.
Sure.
And we take up to about 50 students. That's all we can take. I wish we could take more, but we're maxed out in terms of staff with Matt and Randy and myself, and then we also just the facilities, getting above 50, and then you kind of lose that feel, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, we love it. Absolutely love it.
Now, I know in Michigan you pastored some and did Arise. Are you full-time Arise or are you pastoring?
Full-time Arise now, yeah. I sort of did the pastor Arise thing, and you know how this works. Something suffers. You know, when you try to do, is Arise getting the attention, then the church is suffering. Is the church getting attention, then Arise is suffering. And so, fortunately, the Central California Conference, they really believe in the ministry. They've just given me the opportunity and the privilege of working with my 3 associates, Nathan, Randy, and Matt. And Nathan pastors the church there, the Sonora Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Yes.
We assist him. We're right in the middle of an evangelistic meeting right now. But my full-time job is the speaker director for Arise, and absolutely love it.
Praise God.
I think I have the best life in the world. You probably think you have the best life in the world. He probably thinks he has the best, but no, it's a privilege. I mean, just to be in the work of God is, praise His name.
Yeah, we do each and every day. Now, I want to kind of, as the Lord said of Lazarus, loose you and let you go, and kind of, stay out of the way. But I do want to spend just a moment or two trying to set some context for our discussion tonight, because you've been here before, and we've talked about creationism, and it is a very current area of attack that the church is under. So we want to just set a little context. You became aware that there were Christian schools teaching what is not classic Christian doctrine when it came to who we are, where we came from, how we got here, and where we're going, because they all sort of build each on the other.
Interrelate.
Yeah, there are those who believe Daddy was a gorilla, Mama was a chimpanzee, and they're bringing that into the classroom, and you wrote a letter. Pick it up from there, talk about that, if you will.
Well, you basically nailed it. There was, it came to my attention that some of this was being taught in some schools that I have a vested interest in and that I really value, Christian schools, Adventist schools. And I wrote a letter that was initially just intended to be a private letter. It wasn't sort of an open, public letter at all. It was a private letter, but as often happens in the internet age, that letter became more commonly known and then went basically viral overnight.
Yeah.
And I suppose thousands, tens of thousands, perhaps more, have read that letter. And I think it's played a small role in raising awareness.
Yes.
Are there good reasons to believe in a literal 6-day creation? Or is this just something that we hold to tenaciously as a tradition? And of course, I believe, and you believe, that Scripture teaches this without question. Of course, Dr. Pitman believes that as well. And we believe that as a people. We're Bible-believing Christians. But at the same time, we want to be open to evidence. We don't want to just cling to what the church teaches. Traditionally, we want to say, can this be supported on an evidentiary basis and not just a scriptural basis? And so I think that letter has helped to raise awareness. And I mean, I get hundreds, probably, well, no, it would be thousands of emails since I've sent that letter. And I'm thrilled to see that, we've just had the creation celebration, creation Sabbath, things are beginning to happen. And I wouldn't even take 0.5% of the credit for that. I give all the credit to God. But I think that there are different people like Dr. Pitman, myself, 3ABN, and others that are sort of agitating the issue and saying, hey, what do we believe? And let's articulate very clearly what it is that we believe and why we believe what we believe. And so it's exciting. It's absolutely exciting.
It's good, one, to redress and revisit your belief systems every now and again, because things will come along to shake that. What we came to understand when we began to air these kinds of programs, that there is a large reservoir of people who feel as you do, who may have kept silent, but who now know that there is a forum and that there are fellows who believe like they are beginning to speak up. So the letter became seed, dare we say.
Sort of a catalyst.
Precisely, for thousands of individuals who held the same kinds of belief. And so we decided to bring these programs back periodically to try to say, hey, this is where we stand.
Absolutely.
And we can do no other.
The Apostle Paul says, examine yourselves whether you be in the faith or not. And of course, he's talking about personal examination, but as a church, you know, we always need to step back and sort of say, hey, is what we believe right? And we believe we have some truth.
Yes.
But we certainly don't believe we have all the truth. Truth is progressive, and we're progressing with God, we're marching with God, and so the progressive nature of truth, or maybe the better way of saying it is the progressive understanding of truth, our understanding, calls for constant revisitation and constant evaluation. And you know, we've decided this is our standard. This is where we're coming back to. But at the same time, we don't want to affirm this in the face of evidence that may be absolutely contrary. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is what we see here consistent with what the world around us, sort of the evidentiary empirical world, is telling us. And we're going to find that there's absolute consistency.
Praise God. Well, the Bible says we ought to be able to give a reason for the hope that is within us. And if truth is truth, it can withstand inquiry. In fact, it demands inquiry.
I can't tell you how thrilled I am to hear you say that. So many times we sort of, you know, like Dr. Pitman was saying there right at the beginning, you know, he was a child, he was asking questions, he wanted to know what are the limits. And the reality is that many people fear intellectual conflict, they fear investigation, but truth can stand scrutiny. I just heard a quotation recently. It basically said that sound faith has nothing to fear from right reason. I mean, if what we believe is true, bring on the investigation, bring on the analysis, bring on the evaluation and the scrutiny, and you know, let's get the cards on the table.
Precisely.
And that's what we want to try and do tonight. And I think our viewers are going to find it very persuasive.
Yeah, we've left the "'cause I said so" age. When I was a child, my dad would say, you know, do this. Why, Dad? Because I said so.
Because I said so.
Yeah, well, that doesn't work. And it doesn't work with God.
I'm so glad that he's reasonable. You know, he says there, come let us reason together. It's not...
Well, he gave us big brains for a reason.
Yeah, yeah, good man.
Not just because I said so. I mean, that would take a really small brain to understand that.
Yeah.
So he wants us to appreciate him and for who he is as the creator.
See, that's a pathologist talking. He sees. Yeah. Now, before I sort of, dare I say, turn you loose, we have a free offer for the night. It is Creation Illustrated magazine. This is really a great magazine. First of all, it looks good. It's got a lot of pictures. I like pictures. It's got recipes. It's got a lot of additional stuff, but it has solid creation material. And this is a sample that we want to send to you, and you may even want to subscribe to this in time, but it's a good magazine, full color. If you will contact us, one, you can email to freeoffer@3abn.org. That's freeoffer@3abn.org, or call us. Let's see, 618-627-4651. We have so many numbers floating around, sometimes you forget. But 618-627-4651 or freeoffer@3abn.org. We will get Creation Magazine out to you. And this is a good magazine. This is the kind of thing you can take and leave in your doctor's office or in a public place, put it on your coffee table, dare I say, and people will pick it up and read it because it is an excellent looking magazine. And once they open it up, it's got great information. Now, as we discuss things through this night, you may have questions that you want to send in to us. You may do so at live@3abn.org. That's live@3abn.org, and we'll try to address those questions in the second half. Or again, you can call us 618-627-4651, and we will try to take those questions in the second half as we discuss creation from 4 different aspects, dare I say.
Yep.
And the first one is, I think it's why believe in creation at all? Why even bother to believe in it? So let's go.
Sort of dive in.
Yeah.
Hey, I think my wife just sent an email, so can I have that one? I'm sure she just sent an email.
Yeah, you can have it.
Okay, thank you. Well, you nailed it. What we want to do is just basically we want to ask 4 questions and then try and provide answers to those questions.
Great.
And the first of those 4 questions is, why believe in creation at all? In other words, why should we believe that versus some other competing thing that might be believed? And so maybe we'll just sort of turn it over to you, Doctor, and why? Why believe in this?
Well, for me, it's always been a conflict of science and religion. A lot of people think science and religion are separate enterprises, different paths to truth, if you like. And that never made sense to me. I think that truth is truth. It has the same origin. If God is in existence, then He's the God of both inspiration, the Bible, the written word, as well as nature, and also scientific inquiry. The ability to understand things scientifically is also derived from God, I believe. And if that is actually true, there should be some sort of way to demonstrate this unity, this linking. And I think there's been quite a number of ways in science to demonstrate this link, this unity between inspiration and science.
So this idea that all truth is God's truth.
Right. Yeah, I don't think there's kind of separate paths to truth. To me, all truth has is unified.
Points in the same direction.
Correct.
So some people would say, well, you know, you're a religionist, or you believe in God, and I'm a scientist, and I believe in science or whatever, and you can have your religion and I'll have my science. But what you're saying is that these aren't competing or even different enterprises, they're one and the same.
Right. I think that science has religious implications, regardless of the type of science you're doing. And religion, if it's useful or valuable, has scientific implications as well.
Okay, so sort of walk us through that a little bit. We're asking the question, why believe in creation at all? Maybe give us an answer.
Well, for example, the universe is a very understandable place. In fact, it's mathematical. It's eminently logical. And that's very odd because it doesn't have to be that way. And it kind of confused a lot of people. Why is the universe so mathematically precise, mathematically balanced? It's written, it seems to be written in the language of mathematics. And it's understandable to our minds because of that, because we understand the language of mathematics, and it seems to be kind of a mystery why this is true. And I'm not the only one who's noticed this. Famous scientists have noticed this as well.
People like Albert Einstein
right.
and others. I think you've got a quotation there from Einstein. One of the things that has always impressed me is not just that the universe is amazing, but that there are minds here to grasp the universe.
Yes.
And that itself has scientific implications, obviously, because we're making observations about the universe, but also certainly religious implications.
Right, exactly. I mean, if there are minds to grasp the universe and its nature, it seems rather odd that that might be true. Why is the universe balanced so that minds can understand it, and why are minds there to understand
Absolutely. it? So this quotation from Einstein is right to that point.
Yeah, in 1956, Einstein writes in a letter to a friend, he says, "You may find it strange that I consider the comprehensibility of the world to the degree that we may speak of such comprehensibility as a miracle or an eternal mystery. That is, the miracle which grows increasingly persuasive with the increasing development of knowledge."
Okay.
And along these same lines, there's a physicist, well-known physicist, Eugene Wigner.
Nobel Prize winner, I think.
Nobel Prize winner. And he writes similar. He says, "The enormous usefulness of mathematics is something bordering on the mysterious. There is no rational explanation for it. The miracle of the appropriateness of the language of mathematics for the formulation of the laws of physics is a wonderful gift which we neither understand nor deserve."
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's interesting, and everything is another brick in a wall. You have this order, this symmetry, all around us. Everything has order, has symmetry, is based on mathematical formulas. Then when you come to the highest life form on this planet, it's random. It's kind of incongruous. Everything else is order, everything else is symmetry, everything else is logical, and then man is illogical. His creation is illogical.
Got it.
It doesn't follow.
And I've heard sort of a paraphrase of what Einstein is saying here. He has said in another place very similar to this, that the most incomprehensible thing about the universe is precisely its comprehensibility.
Because there's nothing about the universe inherently that it would have to be comprehensible to us.
Yes.
But apparently mathematics, for example, to quote Wigner, to sort of talk about Wigner, mathematics is giving us obviously real information about the world. It's telling us something about the world. So why should that be the case? That sort of screams purpose.
Or why should it be logical at all? Why should we be able to understand it? The universe could have been programmed in so many ununderstandable ways that we could not comprehend. Yeah. The fact that it's been written in a way that we can actually appreciate it is a great mystery.
And the founders of let's not forget that the founders of what we might call the modern scientific method, people like Galileo and Newton and others, many of these people believed that the scientific enterprise was possible precisely because they were sort of discovering the mind of God, so to speak. They expected there to be order. They expected there to be logic. They expected there to be some rational substance or fabric to the universe, and they were discovering things. They weren't inventing. Newton didn't invent the laws of physics, Newtonian physics. He discovered them.
Right. And he thought by discovering and by searching out, picking up pebbles along the beach, as he said, he was learning small little bits about the mind of God.
Yeah, yeah. You know, that, again, an exciting thing, the fact that this logical, sequential way God has put things together allows us to understand our world. If the sun came up in the east one day and the west one day and the north one day, you could never get a handle on your life. If the world was as random as some would like it to be, we could never understand God, ourselves, our place in the universe, or the universe itself. It's the fact that it is ordered and random and sequential that allows us to understand where we are and what we're doing. That's a great argument.
I love it.
Yeah. And beyond that, it's the universe is finely tuned, not just to be understandable, but to actually support life. It seems like it was made for us.
Yeah, I love this. These are sometimes called the anthropic principle or the anthropic constraints, coming from anthropos, anthropology, the study of man. And basically what you have is that the universe looks as though it had man in mind.
Yes, yes.
And the illustration that I like to use, we're going to have Dr. Pitman walk us through a few of these, but the illustration I like to use is imagine, well, you just had a child. You just had a baby boy, which is exciting. Congratulations, by the way. And let's say that I didn't know that you and Sigrid were expecting, so I go over to your house and I say, hey, Sean, can I use the restroom? You say, yeah, it's down the hallway. Of course, I know where it is. I've been to your house many times. But if I go down the hallway and I just maybe glance through a door and I see a door slightly ajar, and as I look in there, I see a blue wall, and I sort of push the door open and I see a blue crib and a blue changing table and a blue wastebasket and a blue, what am I going to assume?
We have bad decorating habits.
Well, I didn't want to say that on live television. But, No, but the truth of the matter is that I would see the environment and I would say, oh, they're expecting a boy. And the universe is very much like that.
Yes.
Physicists, cosmologists, and others sort of look at the universe and they say, well, this looks like this was made for us.
Right, on every level it seems like, from the universe as a whole as far as fundamental constants are concerned, to galaxies, to even the structure of the solar system.
So let's sort of walk through those and just give us one of these anthropic coincidences at, say, the universal level, at the big picture level.
All right, matter in the universe, stars and solar systems and everything are flying away from each other at a certain speed. Everything is flying away from each other. And the degree, that speed is very precise. It's precise to 1 × 10 to the 121st.
Okay.
Now, this is a massive number. I mean, 10 to the power of 121 is enormous. For example, to understand how big this number is, there are only about 10 to the 80th atoms in the whole universe, at least the visible universe. And so it's massively...
So that's just for our viewers, that's 10 with 80 zeros behind it.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're saying there's
the precision
of the expansion of the universe, the rate of expansion.
It has to be precise to 1 × 10 to the power of 121.
121. Okay, so that's 121 zeros.
So if it's off by 1 zero out of 121, the universe would either expand too fast to form planets able to sustain life, or it would crunch back down on itself and destroy everything.
So the level of precision there, I mean, try to give us, is there some kind of an illustration? Can you make that?
The level of precision, for example, would be like...
I mean, who can conceive of that number? Give us a...
All right, yeah. Let's say I wrote my name on a piece of sand, a grain of sand.
Which I've seen him do before.
Really small. And then I take it out to the Sahara Desert and I throw it somewhere in there and mix it up randomly.
Okay.
And I blindfold you and I say, go find the grain of sand. And
in the Sahara Desert.
Let's say you're just really lucky and you happen blindfolded to pick up the right grain of sand. Now do that 5 times in a row. That's the degree of precision.
Wow.
That's this 10 to 121 zeros behind it.
Right.
That's a concept the mind really can't wrap itself around. It's just, you just accept it in faith.
So,
Dare I say?
hey, listen.
You can't conceptualize that.
Oh,
you just.
No, so
just
basically, if you want to go to Vegas, what kind of odds do you need before you say maybe something's behind it?
Yeah.
Type of deal.
Okay. Not that we're advocating going to Vegas.
No.
So that's sort of at the universal level. Things are expanding at just the right speed, and if it was only slightly different, the whole thing goes pear-shaped.
Collapse.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's sort of bring it down to the level of galaxy.
Yeah, the galaxy is interesting because the location of our solar system and the Earth within the galaxy is in just the right spot, called the habitable zone within the Milky Way galaxy. It's about 2/3 of the way out, which is, if it was any closer to the center, then the radiation from the center of the galaxy would be too strong to sustain complex life. And if it was a little bit farther out from the center of the galaxy, then there wouldn't be enough heavy elements to support the complexity of life.
So we're in the right neighborhood, so to speak.
Yeah.
We're in the right neighborhood, and beyond that, we're also in the right spot within that neighborhood.
Wow.
For example, the galaxies have arms.
Okay.
They
They sort of look like a
whirlpool.
whirlpool spinning.
Right, and they have these arms, but we're not within an arm, we're kind of in between two arms. So we can see out of the galaxy to study the universe. If we were in an arm,
You couldn't see.
we couldn't see out.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
Fascinating.
very fortunate that we just happened
So
to
we're
be-
not only in the right zip code, we're in the right house on the right floor.
Right.
Oh, there we go. We're in the right chair.
Yeah, right.
Are you in the right chair? So, okay, so that's sort of the galaxy level. And these are the kinds of things that scientists, they're